Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade game video for you today. We are working on a police trainer arcade game, which sell pretty well for us. And we've got a cabinet here that we're putting everything back together on. We have the control panel all set up, but we need guns for it. The little Happ 45 light pistols. And so we did a video in the past where we were fixing a bunch of them. But I still have all these to go. So in the other video we did a certain type. That was kind of like this, where it has 2 screws. But they made a newer type that was like this and had 3 screws at the bottom. And so I'm going to try to fix a bunch of those today. So I'm going to pull a bunch of those out and we'll work through them a little bit and see if we can get them going. Okay, so while I'm messing with this, Joey is replacing the tube in the CRT because it's no bueno. So I've got a whole box of these, and like I said, I'm going to do all the 3 screw ones while we have a game here we can mess with it and test it on. And so you need a Torx TX10 security bit screwdriver. So I was trying to buy one of these, and I bought this online, but I didn't know it was 4 feet long. Everybody knows I have huge hands, right? So this is actually 48 inches long. It doesn't look like it is, but it's at least, I may be a little off, but it's at least 35 inches long, at least. This is a 12-inch long screwdriver here compared to it. 1, 2, yeah, 35 inches, right. Look, that's perfect. All right, so I'm going to take all the screws out. Let's see what it looks like inside. Okay, so once we get this one open, one of the problems is this little piece is broken off of here, which means you can't use the screw in there anymore. So you no longer have a secure part here, but you still have a screw there, you still have one there. Those will hold the gun together. And then up at the top you have a little chip, so when it's on the gun there's a chip, but it's in front of the lens, so it doesn't really matter either. So it's just cosmetic stuff. So I think that one's probably still savable, or it's at least usable. You can buy new gun halves. I think they're $30 or something for the set, something like that. Or if you don't mind the little chip, you can just leave it, right? So I don't see anything obvious on this one yet. Looks like the connector is still fully seated on there, so that's not going to be the problem. It doesn't look like the wires are broke or anything. And all of these are going to have the newer model gun board, which is a lot harder to fix because there's really not much that can go wrong on it, so it's hard to figure out why it would even be a problem. But it could be that the lens, one of the legs on the photo transistor broke or something, but probably not, because these newer ones had this little bracket. But I'll take that board off and we'll look at it and see what we can find out. Okay, so Joey got far enough on the police trainer that we can use it as a test bench, so we tested it, and we just cleaned up the inside and tested it, and it definitely doesn't work. So I'm going to try just replacing the optic and see if that fixes it. Alright, so the optics are L14G1s. Took out the old one, put in the new one. These newer boards like this, everything's surface mounted, and there's not really that much to go bad, so I'm hoping that it's always the optic. There is a little chip. It's a LM311, I think. And then there's 2 little transistors, but they seem to test fine comparing it to other boards, which, by the way, I have a few other boards. That's not even the ones in the guns. That's just the extra ones I've had from over the years. So I'm trying to save $25 every time I fix one of these. So I've swapped the optics. We're going to put that's all we did. So we're going to put it right back in the gun and see if that fixed it. Okay, so our monitor still definitely needs work, but it does appear that has completely fixed it, just replacing the optic. Obviously, we need to calibrate it. Right? But board number 1 fixed with the optics. You know what that means? Ka-ching! $25. So this one, when plugged in, doesn't do anything. Even the trigger doesn't do anything, which is usually a good sign. It usually means that the plug's unplugged on the board or a wire's broke. They're all filthy too, by the way. So they obviously need to be cleaned, but that's minor. I'd rather have one dirty that doesn't work than a clean one. I mean, dirty that does work than a clean one that doesn't work. So we'll fix them and then we'll clean them. But I'll bet the plug's just unplugged on this one. Let's see. It appears to be slid apart just enough to make it not work. The ground comes up to this, and then it has to go into the board and then come back out another pin to make the ground on this work. So somebody's been in this one too. You see the solder, and it had a couple screws missing. But yeah, that's an easy one, if that's it. Sometimes the legs and these are broke too. Let's see. Seems all right. Okay, so I'll clean up the lens and the front of the photo transistor, and we'll see if that fixed it. All right, so that one was just unplugged. I can't aim while I'm holding the camera. All right, on to number 3. Here's number 3. It has a little bit different look because it's only got 1 screw in the bottom instead of the 3. But I'm thinking it's probably the same, or like a copy of the design, and the cable's out of it, and somebody's taken some of the screws out and stuff. And the trigger's missing. So we'll take it apart and see what we got. Okay, so we got multiple problems here. So the first thing that happened was the case broke a lot. So see that hole? There's no way for a screw to hold it anymore. They're all supposed to look like that, but they've all broken. This is Happ's recoil gun. That one's broken, and that one's broken. So you can see where there's extra room inside where you can fit the recoil coil. So the gun vibrates when you shoot it. Bam, bam. Okay, so this side is all screwed up, but this side is still fine. It has the places for the screws still in it. So this side's fine, this side's all broke up. So once that happened, it slid apart a little bit, and the spring, the trigger popped out because the spring was holding it in place. Right, so the spring goes there. And then also this is pulled loose, probably just from the cable falling out of the end of it. So I need a trigger, I need the left side of the gun, and push the connector back in and put it all back together, and it should work. Okay, so after digging through all of our stash, which is significant, we have these stashed all over the place. I got broken ones and parts of ones and stuff all over the place. Got boxes of them. I was able to find one more of these types that have 1 screw hole in the bottom. But unfortunately this one's also broke. Same thing. Same part, everything. And the same one is not broke. The front one made it through, the other one's broke. It's the exact same thing. This is a different case. And I also found another couple of the right sides here. Like, see, this is the exact same part. The right side survived, the left sides get all screwed up. So it looks like that they were kind of in the middle of changing them. So the Model 1s were more like this, where they had 2 screws down here, and they cracked a lot. So they redesigned it, and they put these the screws in, like, where you don't need a nut on the back. It's a I don't know what those are called, but it's actually in the plastic. So the screws tighten up, and they put 1 screw at the bottom. They changed the way the cord is too. The cord's a little different on the other ones. So just little stuff like the old one, the cord came up to here, and the new one it comes down to here. Little stuff like that probably changes the way the tension works whenever they get dropped or something pulls on them. But then it looks like these ones were all problematic, and it caused all kinds of cracking problems. So they redesigned it again. And they made the one that has the 3 screws. So because I can't find a left side for this, but I've got what looks to be all the working parts of one, I've got this empty case here that I bought somewhere. And so I think I'll just put this new one on there, and we'll test it, and we should have like a pretty much new gun. And I'll just take all the blue ones, and we'll be done with loose blue ones. I've still got some though that are complete that we can still work with, but I'll put that red case on it and let's test it out. Swapped the new case on it, and it's got some it came with a little document here that talks about what we were just talking about. Let's look at it. Optical gun halves update kit. Right. So it tells you what they changed, which is pretty cool. It says, the diameter of the internal plastic bosses and chamfers has been increased for additional strength and durability. So they must have known something's going on there. Wall thickness within the recoil solenoid area has been increased. Must have been a problem there. Right? As parts break down. Okay, and then it says, 2 more screws and hex nuts added for strength and to resist the constant pulling and twisting off of the rubber hose. Revision level now molded into the plastic gun halves. So it says revision E right there. Instructions: remove the 5 screws, separate the left half, remove the trigger and the spring, remove the lens from the front portion, be careful not to scratch the lens. Remove the gray optic shield from the gun assembly, remove the 2 screws that hold the trigger switch onto the gun, remove the 3 screws holding the optic board in place, carefully lift out the rubber hose with the harness attached to the trigger switch and the optic board and the coil if it applies. Now place the new right optic gun half on a flat surface that the inside of the gun is exposed. Start by replacing the lens in the front part of the gun into the retaining slot. Replace the optic shield into the 4th chamber of the barrel from left to right of the gun. Boy, that's a great word there. Barrow. I thought it was barrel. Barrow. I guess it's like wheelbarrow. It's a spot to hold something, I guess. Barrow. I like it. Insert the hose and harness assembly into the new gun half, making sure that the grove. Now there are some words that I don't know, but I'm not so sure. I'm thinking that's supposed to be groove. I mean, I know all about groove. I'm an expert on groove, but grove? I think they might be wrong on that one. Which leads me to believe, are they wrong about barrow? The grove on the hose fitting fits into the uppermost rib on the lower part of the gun. Route the wires up the handle of the gun, then through the center of the 2 screw bosses for the trigger. Fasten the optic board down using the 3 screws removed earlier. Fasten the trigger switch down using the 2 screws removed earlier. Be careful not to pinch the wires in between the 2 screw bosses. If the gun was supplied with a feedback coil, reinsert the coil into the coil chamber with the spring at the top of the coil. Reinsert the trigger spring over the spring post and over the wires coming from the hose assembly. Ain't no such thing as a damn barrow in this instance. Barrow's bullshit on this one. That meant barrel. Reinstall the trigger in front of the trigger spring. Place the left optic gun half on top of the right gun assembly, making sure not to pinch any wires in between the 2 gun halves. Refasten the 5 short screws into the holes with the brass inserts. Oh, and I thought of what the brass inserts must be called. Studs. I should have known that one. Insert the 2 long into the 2 long. Definitely barrel. Insert the 2 long into the 2 remaining holes at the lower part of the optic gun. Fasten with 2 nuts on the opposite side of the gun assembly. Technical bulletin. Here is a summary of these improvements. We have added 2 more screws and hex nuts to the bottom of the gun handle. The original design had 1 screw. The updated version provides 3. Well, the original design had 2. You messed up. They messed up, people. When they went from 2 to 1, it was a big no-no. They tried to save that damn screw and it bit them in the ass. The original design had 1 screw. The updated version provides 3. This change assures... Oh, I'm wrong voice. I'm out of character. The original design had 1 screw. The updated version provides 3. This change assures more strength to resist breaking in this area due to the constant pulling and twisting of the rubber hose, which was going on when there were 2. They should have known. They should have known. The diameter of the internal plastic bosses and chamfers has been increased for additional strength and durability. The plastic wall thickness within the recoil solenoid area has been increased for improved strength. The new improved version is identified by revision E or higher. You can find this molded on the inside of the plastic gun halves. To take advantage of these updates, order your optical gun halves kits now. Optical gun halves update kit. Updated Type 2 45 caliber optical guns. Base of handle now has 3 screws versus only 1, and it's all the same thing over and over again. Is there anything different? Will not work with older Type 1 rubber hoses. Kit contains the following items: left plastic gun half, right plastic gun half, gun handle screws, gun handle nuts. And they were $27.90 in 2002. Well, they're about $25 now. I don't know how the price dropped, but it did. Color code. Red, I've got some of them. Blue, got some of them. Green, I get those. Orange, got those. Purple. Baby blue and pink, I don't have. Those must be the Lethal Enforcers versions. Alright, so that's that. So I'm going to plug this one in and see if gun number 3 works. Yeah. You know what that means? I saved another $25. I'm going to go ahead and count it. Now, you might be saying, but Ron, you didn't have to put a new board in it, but you had to replace the case, which also cost $25. And the way I would respond to that is I would say, hey, these are my rules. I'm the only one here right now. I get to make up all the rules. If you don't like them, you don't have to abide by them, but I'm going to $75. Number 4 was in our broke box, but works just fine. So that definitely counts. Gun number 5 wasn't doing anything, so I thought it would be the plug. The plug is not messed up, but the trigger wire is broke off. So if you can't pull the trigger, you can't hit anything. So I'm going to solder that back on the pin. You could put a little connector, but I don't have any that are that small, actually. I'm going to solder it back on like they had it, do a little better job, hopefully, than they did, so it'll last longer. Hell, it may have lasted 10 years, I don't know. But solder it on really good, and then we'll try it. I think this is 5, isn't it? Everything's cool. Very nice. Alright, on to the next one. So those are that was the last of the Type 2s that I had that were in good condition. So I've got a bunch that are cracked up and stuff that need new cases, but I figured what I'd do is go through and fix some of the boards. Maybe I can fix the one in this one or test it, and then use it to test some of these. Look at all these. Oh, we got to get some of them back together. I hate having them just sitting around that don't work. Right? So I'm filming this video. So I'm going to take this one apart. We'll see what's going on with it. See if we can test it. And we'll just use this cracked up gun as our test bed for some of these other boards. So the inside of this one looks fine. These are all sold to us as broken. Tested not working. But it could just be that they threw this one in because the case is broken half. So we'll test it out. Another thing I wanted to show you, just kind of interesting. The hose that they use on these is just an off-the-shelf part. Gates 1/4 inch, Power Clean 3500, Max WP 3500 PSIs, but it's not for steam. I picked the wrong one, but you can see that the gun works. All right, so that's board number 6 that works. So we're doing good here. So this is candidate 7. If you look really close, right where the leg goes into the body of the optic. See how the optic's moving, but the leg isn't? So the leg broke off. So I'm going to very carefully replace that optic with a new one, and that should fix that one. Adjusted the monitor a little bit. This is number 7. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. All right, that's board number 7. We got that one off the counter, so that's good. It's been laying around for who knows how long. 7. That's the optic that was broke off number 7. As you can see, the leg broke off right flush with the thing, so there's really no way to fix it. But board number 8 here, if you look really close, it's broke kind of right where it bends. The top one. But there's plenty of leg there, so I should be able to solder that back on. So I'm going to dab a little bit of solder on it, and then we'll see if that fixes it. Look how beautiful. Look how gorgeous. I didn't even burn any of the plastic. Look at that. Wow. Man. Might have made $25 with just a little teeny dab of solder. Whoa. Holy moly. I just noticed, as I'm putting it back in, this is a parts board. Look, it's had everything taken off of it. The caps are missing, which we would replace, but that surface mount chip's gone. And I don't like messing with those. So I did fix the optic, but I think I'll take it off and try it on one of these other ones. Like maybe this one. What do you think about that one? Let's try it on this one. Okay, this is the new board 8. Not like that other board 8. Alright, so I tried this one and it didn't work, but now that I look at it, this is another one that someone has tried to part out. If you look, R11 is missing and C1 is missing, so I'm going to pull them off of that one that's largely been parted all out, because they're still, both of them are still there, so we'll pop them on there and we'll try it again. Okay, so I put the cap and the resistor that we're missing back on the board, and I got this one. All right, so that's 8. Boom. All right, board 9 was just in the bag of broken ones, but it doesn't look like anything's wrong with it. And then board 10, same thing. So maybe they got mixed in. So we're gonna test both of those out and see if there's anything wrong with them. Okay, so 9 and 10 worked fine. This will be number 11. It's just missing the optic, so I don't know if these are just broke off or what, but I happen to have some of these little holders, so I can make it a Model 2 or whatever it's called. So yeah, we'll just try putting an optic on and see what happens. Board number 11.
Welcome to the Academy.
Board number 11 appears to work. Okay, it's only one left that looks fixable. Board number 12. This will be our final one. Maybe we'll get a nice dozen of them done. It's just missing the optic, so perhaps that's all it needs. It seems like the whole end result of this video appears to be, if it's these newer models, I think they call these the inductorless models. They were able to get rid of the inductors. It's much more reliable. It just needs a good optic and you're good to go. So if you get one of these that's broke, the Type 2s, it's almost always the optic. That has been my experience now on several of them. So the only thing that has been wrong with any of them is the optic. There was a couple pieces missing off that one, but that was just because some operator had been taking parts off of it. So let's see if lucky number 12 works for us. All right, that's number 12. Still needs to be calibrated. All right, folks, so that's all of them that I had. Number 12 worked fine. So we fixed 12 boards, I guess, or we tested 12 boards. Some of them just worked fine. And all of the ones that were messed up, all they really needed was the optic. So if it's the Type 2 board, it's vastly superior to the Type 1, I would say. But the Type 1s, depending on the casing you have, will still work good. So I got like a whole box of them now. This should last me like forever. So the main difference is, I have to test that one again. The main difference is the this little holder here. So in the actual case, it has a space for that. So see how there's like a square hole there? That's for that holder. Because the main problem with the Type 1s was that optic would always get broke. On the Type 1s, they were held in place like that. So that's the main difference inside. There's other little minor differences. Good Lord, I got the dropsies. There's other little minor differences, but check that out. Look at that. Boy, we're looking good now. If I can just keep from breaking them. So I'm gonna fix up some more. I've got some more Type 1s that are the complete guns. So I'm trying to just go through and fix all of them that I have, so that whenever we get in a gun game that needs some work, we can either just swap a gun onto it or swap a board in. It's no problem. But I had that whole bag. You may have saw in the first video that we did of these. I had that whole bag of these boards broken. And I hated it because I knew they were worth, to buy a new one, it's like $25, which isn't that big of a deal. But just by going through the stuff I already had, even the ones that, we save some money. Don't have to order new ones, so we save some money, period. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. We've got a bunch of one half of cases and stuff. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. If you have the choice, get the Type 2s, I guess. Get the inductorless. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. You can check out all of our arcade games that we have for sale. Go to our website, lionsarcade.com. It's always up to date. Or stop by and see us. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina. There's about 15 miles south of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're over the border, down a little bit more southern. Down below this video, you will see a link to Amazon. If you go to Amazon, like you're going to buy something, toothpaste or a sports car, anything you buy, by clicking that link first, it all works exactly the same, doesn't raise your prices. You don't have to create an account or do anything. Just click that link, and it'll take you to Amazon. And when you go to Amazon, anything you buy gives us a little royalty because we sent you there. Isn't that cool? So you don't have to pay anything or anything by just clicking that link before you buy something on Amazon that you were already going to buy. Nobody go spend extra money. I don't want that. But by going and buying something you were already going to buy, you give us some of Amazon's money. This is like the coolest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. Besides like maybe the Christmas Story. I don't want to say that wasn't cool. That was pretty cool. That kind of stuff. So we've been doing that on Amazon. The other thing that we've been doing, if you haven't heard yet, we have a second channel. I have a brother named Donnie. So we're Joe, I'm Ron, and then we have a brother, Donnie. Donnie's crazier than both me and Joe combined, right? And he's always doing interesting things. He's always got his hands in something. And so he's got a new channel, and the name of the channel is, listen to how creative this is. The name of the channel is My Brother Donnie. So if you go on our page, you'll see we link to My Brother Donnie. We follow him. You should go follow him too. So go find that and subscribe to him. I'm on there too. Right now, me and him are restoring this old mobile home that we bought and making it nice again. So go check that out. Hijinks will ensue. But leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film this for you while we worked on these this evening. And we will see you on the next video. Look at all that. Look at all that. Isn't that great? Look at all that. Boy, that's awesome. Look at that. Look at all that.